Matthew 11 and 24 says, "Therefore I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it and it will be yours." God's promises are better than any of our promises. Before we can receive what God has promised, we can say, "Thank you, God, that what you said is going to happen will happen." There's a great example of this in Hebrews 11. You remember Joshua and Jericho, where the walls fell down? How did they fall down? Hebrews 11 and 30 says, "By faith the walls of Jericho fell after the army had marched around them for 7 days." The people of Israel were going into the promised land where the powerful city of Jericho was located. God promised he was going to let the Israelites into the city and then gave them the plan. "I want you to go and march around Jericho for 7 days. Then on the seventh day, I want you to march around the city 7 times, thanking me for the victory that's going to come." And when they did that, the walls just fell. God did what God had promised. Have you ever thought, what if you had been one of those people marching around the walls for 7 days? Some of the people had to be looking at the walls, getting more and more worried and wondering how God could ever bring the walls down. But a lot of those people had faith instead. And every day they looked at the wall and they thought about what God could do and thank God in advance. When you pray, believe God will answer. When you go to God and ask God to intervene in your situation, believe that God will do it. Remember that God says that all things work together for the good of those that love the Lord according to his will and his purpose. So we must understand that when we go to God in prayer, that we shouldn't worry. Whatever we take and lay at God's feet, we should leave it there and trust that God will answer. Trust that God is going to do what God promised. It may not come the way that we want it to come, or when we want it to come, or how we want it to come, but God will answer. God is not a man that he would lie. God is the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. So the same God that the Israelites thanked after the walls of Jericho fell down is the same God that we should thank when we're asking God to tear down some things in our life that's keeping us from experiencing that more abundant life that God has promised us on this side of heaven. Today, I want you to think about that as we reflect over where God has brought us from and how God has brought us. Sometimes we didn't understand what God was doing, but God did it in the way that it needed to be done. And we didn't understand why we had to go through this. We didn't understand why we had to walk around a wall 7 days and 7 times. We didn't understand all of that. All we have to understand is that our trust in God would never fail us. Today, I want to leave with you. When you pray, believe God will answer. When you pray, leave that situation with God. When you pray, know that everything will work out for your good. When you pray, know that victory is on the other side. All you have to do is trust. Matthew 11 and 24 is a reminder of us, and letting us know that wherever you're asking in prayer, believe that you've already received it and that it will be yours. And go ahead and thank God for it before you even see it coming. Therefore, I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it and it will be yours. What is your belief system like this morning? What do you believe in God for this morning? Because if you're not believing God's going to answer, why are you praying? Think about that today. Therefore, I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it and it will be yours. When you pray, believe God will answer. Be blessed and have a good